Rap legend Eminem is one of the many people who have claimed that something fishy was going on with Diddy and the Tupac murder case. He also previously told us that Diddy would never admit that he ordered a hit on Pac. But given the recent developments in Pac's case, it appears that Eminem wasn't just playing around. Although he has a funny way of putting things, this is no different. If you haven't been paying attention, the last few weeks have been filled with talk about the arrest of Keffe DK in connection with Tupac's murder, which occurred 27 years ago. It appears that the Las Vegas police have finally awoken from their long, dull sleep. 27 wild years have passed since Tack was apprehended during that drive-by on the Las Vegas Strip. And the Las Vegas Metro Police Department reports that on September 29th, they finally handcuffed a purported gang big shot after accusing him of killing the hip-hop icon. This guy, Dwayne Cafe D. Davis, was the mastermind behind a plot by the Southside crime crips to kill Tupac. It all began on September 7, 1996, when Tupac and his group got into a fight with one of their gang members following a fight with Mike Tyson. Lieutenant Jason Johansson revealed the details during a press conference following the arrest, stating that Dwayne Davis was the leader of this group and that he created the plan and they carried it out, according to the police. At some point while they were in that white Cadillac, he'd grabbed the gun he had and gave it to the people in the back seat, according to the police. Mr. Davis and 3 other people pulled up next to Tupac in a white Cadillac later that same day. Someone in the caddy opened fire on the BMW that Tupac was sitting in. This arrest is significant because, as of right now, no one has been charged in connection with this hit, making it one of the most well-known cold cases in both police and showbiz history. Lieutenant Johansson explained that they had this drought of arrests because they never had the goods to bring this case and dropped the hammer with criminal charges. However, things took a turn when Kef ID started running his mouth about his involvement in the shooting in around 2018. And his story started matching up pretty close to what the police were already saying. In fact, this case got a second wind as new details emerged about Pac's murder, especially when Keedy started confessing his part into the various media outlets, sure enough in a 2018 Netflix doc called Unsolved: The Tupac and Biggie Murders, and in a book he published in 2019 called Compton Street Legend KD, claimed that his nephew Orlando Anderson was the one who did Tupac K. And he was right there in the car with when the shots rang out. Even though this is a recreation of Key's confession, it's a fairly useful representation of how Key actually talked to the cops. Man Puffy called Zip. When he heard what happened, he kept asking, "Was that us?" So Zip hands me the phone. And I go, "Yeah, that was us." In his book, Key wrote Tupac made a wild move and reached down under his seat. It was the first time in my life that I felt what the cops say, "Keep your hands where I can see him," instead of Pac pulling out a piece. And that's when everything went wrong. One of my guys in the back seat grabbed the Glock and started shooting him back, which is how they busted Keffe after they raided his crib on July 17 in Henderson, Nevada City, which is about 15 miles southeast of Sin City. Prior to a 2002 investigation by the Los Angeles Times-Journal, the police had never placed handcuffs on anyone. Chuck Phillips placed the blame on a number of individuals, including Tupac's rival in the hip-hop scene, the Notorious Big, whose real name was Christopher Wallace when he passed away in September 1996 at the young age of 25. The legend surrounding Pac has only grown since then, but that wasn't the only thing that grew. Most people's suspicion about Puffy's involvement in this murder case also grew. He was the missing piece of evidence that was presented in the case thus far. So is Puff really the big bad wolf that so many people are trying to believe it or not? Let's turn back time to 2018, when Eminem beat up MGK and effectively terminated his career with a single song. He informed us about this a while back with one of his most amazing songs to date. Kill Shot was directed towards MGK. However, in the course of attacking Kelly, he implied that Diddy was involved in Tupac's 1996 murder in the song's lyrics. He raps Kill Shot, I will not fail, I'm with a doc still, but this idiot's boss pops pills and tells him he's got skills, but kills the day you put out of hits the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pop killed. If you go back and watch the YouTube video of Kill Shot, you'll notice some pretty interesting things there, like the line about Diddy maturing like a fine wine, while Eminem later acknowledges he's just playing around. Leading the opposition against them was Jay Electronica, who urged him to exercise caution and questioned how dare he claim Diddy killed Tupac. According to Joe Budden, Diddy is aware of the reference but is preparing a response, which is unlikely to occur. But recent developments in Pac's case, like Kef ID's arrest, have once again brought Diddy's name into the little mix. We've been seeing Kef I yelling Diddy's name repeatedly, claiming that he's the one to blame here. Was Eminem right about Diddy all along? Let's look at the facts. The most that we all got as a result was Button playing his advocate on his show. Button spilled on his Joe Budden podcast that there's no need to speculate. The most compelling and accurate information regarding Diddy's relationship with Pac actually began back in 2006, when Biggie Small's mother, Betsy Wallace, filed a sizable $500 million lawsuit against the Los Angeles Police Department. At that time, the department decided to dust off Biggie's murder case and gave it to LAPD Detective Greg Cade, who found more than he had anticipated. Detective Kading believes that Tupac and Biggie Small's murders are connected. One important point to note is that Detective Kading asserts that the deaths of both the infamous Pig and Tupac Shakur are related, and that during his investigation into Biggie's case, he discovered new information that connected the two cases. Due to the notorious rap feud between himself and Biggie, the whole East versus West thing, Daddy Combs spent $1 million to eliminate both Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. According to Caden, the music group Mogo had some serious gang connections in Los Angeles and hired Kef D of the Crips to complete the task. Kef ID was supposed to take out Tupac, but at the last minute, they ended up on the wrong side of Tupac's car. So Keffi's nephew had to step in, do the deed, and take out Tupac while Aner and shaking Knight in the process. Rewinding to the topic at hand, after Tupac was taken out, he claims that he got in touch with Diddy and Evans to let him know that they were behind the murder. It's interesting to note that Baby Lane also had a run-in with Pac at a Vegas casino just hours before the shooting. Faith Evans, who was Biggie Small's wife back then, supposedly knew about Diddy's scheme to off Tupac. Now remember, Park and Faith had a little affair going on behind Biggie's back. Even though Biggie and Tupac had a well-documented rap feud, Detective Kading maintains that Biggie was unaware of Diddy's plot to kill both Tupac and his manager, Shake Knight, after Knight barely avoided death in the Tupac hit. Knight, who was in charge of Death Row Records, is said to have retaliated by hiring a member of the Bloods gang to get rid of the notorious Big. The hitman met Biggie on his way home from a party hosted by VOD magazine. It's interesting to note that the documentary suggests that Knight saw Tupac's killer and attended the same school as the hired hitman Kef ID. According to Caden, they thoroughly investigated the case, but even after all that, they abandoned it because the LAPD was able to win the $500 million lawsuit filed by Biggie's mother, Veda Wallace, in 2009. Caden was removed from the task force as a result of a separate internal affairs probe, even though he was found not guilty of any charges. Road cops Lane Anderson and Wardell Poyef, who were allegedly the direct perpetrators of the murders of Pac and Biggie, have allegedly died of unrelated causes. So even if the information in the documentary is accurate, these guys are no longer alive to face justice. So where does that leave us now? Well, Key D is in jail, and Diddy isn't a suspect in this case at the moment. But many people think that Key D will start talking about the same things he's been spilling for the last few years in his book and documentary film, implying that Diddy was the one who ordered the hit. At that point, Diddy may be scheduled for a brief visit from the LVPD, though we can't say for sure. Mogul with a lot of money and power might not be all that surprised.